So I'm going to stop trying to use the phrase web to print because we can get files automatically to print presses, but it's not often that that's actually what printers want or need. We recently gave the RTT an unlimited approvals feature that we call NS approval or NS notifications, and the NS is next step. We can't legislate an approval process. Neither can we assume that the business rules for one of our clients will be the same for another. So our feature allows the RTT owner to configure an unlimited chain of command that can split into parallels if required. So this approval process is managed via templated emails. It's not a control panel. That way it doesn't interrupt its administrator too much from their duties. And it isn't over till it's over with our approval system, which means if something is declined by clicking in a link inside their email, it's not too late to make amends to that order or that product and then approve without sending the customer back to the web store to make their own changes. So, useful for our business users. So, as you've heard a couple of times, printers are burdened with providing the next communication technology. And usually that comes at a price, but there's something happening right now which I believe would be a bit of a white knight for print. In fact, it's a black and white knight, it's QR codes. So I say white knight because it's free and it's gaining popularity. More than 70% of the public know what to do with them. So it's a technology that's on the rise and it's free, given to the world by Toyota. So QRs are interesting. I think it puts the power back in print. Some might say that print is shrinking as marketeers increasingly use the web to talk to consumers. But what are the avenues at their disposal to get consumers onto their websites? A QR code is the most accessible way to communicate with consumers on a handheld device. 45% of UK internet access in 2011 has been on mobile devices, and that's rising rapidly. QR codes will be something that you print in the next few months. You have your customers here. And if they're not, then it's a big piece of business that you're missing. So, one of the new features that we have is a QR engine, which makes the graphic in response to the text that you fill in, and that's all they do. That's the QR codes in a nutshell. So we plug this into the RTT, and you can include QR codes in any RTT product and not have to create them as artwork files yourself. So when I hit save as a customer here, that's my QR code as a graphic. And if I were to scan that, I would be off to the website. There are lots of new things, but I'm going to move on from physically showing you the new things since we're not customers here. Creating a series of web services in the RTT has brought another enormous benefit to the RTT and our clients. It means that we can tinker with the normal run of things. Now, the normal run of things is that our clients use our tool the way we provide it, meaning that they create web stores in the image library tool, they create products from artwork files or present stock items from their shelves. They can configure the customer to complete their address details in a particular format, pay the bill a certain way, make sure the particular rate of tax is charged, and have different methods of carriage per person. Things that you would hope your web-to-print system will do. And we do that. What about the things that print buyers demand of their printers that web-to-print systems don't do? And there's a lot of that. I always advocate a version of the 80-20 rule, which is a shame because my mouse will not allow me to do that. Back again. So I always advocate a version of the 80-20 rule. As far as web-to-print software is concerned, I believe the good ones do about 80% of what a printer might need, but they lack 20% of what the printer wants. I actually think we do about 90%, but that's for the rule. As suppliers in the web-to-print sector, the weird thing about our industry is that we don't agree on what that 80% is. So when a printer selects the web-to-print product for them, they do so based on which package provides the feature set for their intended use. So it boils down to a decision amongst the web-to-print packages who hits the 80% they want. And then they think about price and service considerations after that. Therefore, a printer has a very individual opinion of what web-to-print should do for them. Often led by a client or a business process of their own creation, it's difficult for a web-to-print package to anticipate the many requests made by this industry. So, for my last slide, the bit that I can't go down to because my mouse switches off when I'm connected to the computer, it says something about our really good idea being to fulfill that 20%, and tomorrow it's going to be awesome. So, we have to think about what exactly does our product do? What is the RTT? Well, it looks like that, and it builds a branded store, it configures customers, there's a registration process, a shopping cart, emails fly everywhere, there's invoices, and there's things to sell, products to sell. And it's mostly the things to sell, or the manner in which they're sold, that demands such a huge variety from our hundreds of clients. The existing configurable options on a product are vast. So that's page 2. Everything's driven from page 1. This is what we can set against a product in the RTT. Descriptions, prices, carriage options, weights, tags, approval systems, assets, data templates, inventories, everything you would want it to do. Turns out, not quite so much everything we want it to do, because we're always asked for more. We're always called upon to extend these options even further. We encourage good ideas and include them and build them, and sometimes we hear bad ideas, which we invent until they're good, and then include them. But the sheer volume of opportunity for printers to sell new products and services in new ways means that we won't be able to keep bolting features into this page. We don't want it to get confusing. So with that in mind, a new way of including products and services into an RTT was created. This type of RTT product might not be paper, it might not be media or communication, it can be anything and do anything. So, take away the products from the RTT and you get something like this. It's the brand and the paying bit. Nothing for sale on this page. Should be in there, that gap. So we're going to actually import an entire application into that space and sell it. Perhaps call this the app space. So it's a foreign object inserted into the RTT shopping cart to perform a task that the RTT doesn't do, or shouldn't do, or just maybe doesn't do it the way our customers want it to do it. So let's get something in that space to see what it's going to do. See, this is a test script, by the way. This is a test script. So that is a calendar product for sale. But it didn't come from the RTT. That's not created by the RTT at all. It came from somewhere else. Now the RTT does sell calendars. You can build a calendar product in the RTT if you so choose. But this calendar product is an application in its own right. The RTT is driving it and will ultimately sell it. But what's happening on screen now is a new feature in the RTT where something can be dropped into the RTT shopping cart system. And it's so simple, I'm not even going to call it an API. It isn't. It's an electronic handshake between the app, when it's requested, and our store. And then it's all underway. As you can see, if anyone's familiar with regular RTT products, that's quite a different user experience to buying a piece of print from the RTT as a template. You can see that everything drags, drops, fades away, helps the user. They can change dates, put pictures of adorable 4-year-olds on, add hundreds of day captions, change holiday captions from a list, edit photos, rotate them. Anything that a consumer might want to do when building their calendar, who's to say how we tell them to build a calendar and build that product? This thing will let them do it their way. And because it's not an RTT feature, it doesn't come from the RTT, they're at liberty to do anything they want in that space. I say that in our clients. Anything can go on between here. Show your customer anything. So that's nearly done. So another external application, again, QR codes, but don't confuse this with... Is it going to play? Don't confuse this with the native QR features that you saw earlier. This is another application. That's the space. That doesn't come from the RTT. It's a completely bespoke external application running from somewhere else, someone else's server. It's not even written in the same computing language as the RTT. So the relationship between the RTT and these apps is symbiotic. The RTT is the host, and the apps live between the branded header and footer. If you've been paying attention, we turned it from a website QR code to a V-card QR code, and pictures disappeared, faded out, extended. It was beautiful. If you're a customer, you'd be in love with it. So this feature will grant our clients the ability to do anything. It's the do anything feature. It's important to us, and it's a very bold plan. On screen, you'll see the new RedTie app marketplace. So you've seen 2 apps in public-facing apps in action already, and there's many more in the pipeline, as you can see. And we've got hundreds of apps and ideas beyond this set here. So as I already said, these apps will be the things that the native RTT either doesn't do or shouldn't do, and maybe just doesn't do the way that people want it to. So this feature is an open invitation to ask for exactly what you want. And maybe an opportunity for you to build something exactly what you want using the very simple SDK that comes with this feature, 3 pages of A4. So you won't need to know anything about code to use these apps. Only if you want to build your own, which is entirely possible, you might need to get nerdy. So think of it this way. My iPhone doesn't map my cycle route home and time. My iPhone won't record what I say in my sleep, which is good. But there's apps that do that, that you buy for your iPhone. In fact, there's 425,000 apps for an iPhone that does something your iPhone doesn't do. This is the same. The RTT doesn't do some things, but it will. For example, it won't elegantly present a catalogue of hundreds of hymns, let you choose one, remove some verses, and then add them to your order of service print piece. You could work it out that way, but it wouldn't be as beautiful as you might hope. Build an app that does that. We can build them for you. I've just been using a few apps on the screen there. One of them concerns data. That makes calendars. You can have PDFs. So the output of the calendar you saw me ordering might look like that if you want to get really clever and print hundreds at the same time, or it could have been the PDF in my inbox, which I prioritise. Actually, so there's a lot more to our product than I can fit into 30 minutes, and I could say I mentioned our fantastic development team. I could go on forever about being the advantages of being a RedTie customer, but we all have homes to go to. So before we go to questions, did the app thing make sense? Cool. Good.